Hello and welcome to Stretford. Paddock, today's podcast is brought to you by Surfshark VPN. Now more than ever, our internet reliance has been rapidly increasing. We stream our favourite shows, keep in touch with loved ones, and watch podcasts, not to mention, of course, the football. We'd like to think that information is safe, but as our online footprint increases, so does our need for proper internet security. Surfshark is a VPN service that protects your information by encrypting all the data that you send through the internet, keeping anyone unwanted from seeing it. Another great reason to use a VPN service is often when we're trying to stream something from another country, it can be restricted, so you can only view it from that country. However, using Surfshark VPN enables you to view content usually able to watch from different countries, from abroad. So for example, if you've got a show or a game that you want to watch that is only being streamed in a certain country, using Surfshark VPN, that will allow you to watch that. So that can be channels and services such as Netflix, X or Twitter, Amazon Prime, all those different channels and services that you may only be able to watch in different countries. With Surfshark, you can simply solve that problem by changing your location. Also, if you do go abroad, you're on holiday, you're on the beach, and you still want to tune in to the Premier League or to any other services that you can't get while you're abroad, well, changing your location back to the UK and using your normal streaming service will enable that using Surfshark VPN. Currently, Surfshark has an amazing deal on. By using the link in the description and the promo code Paddock, which is pretty easy to remember, Paddock, you get an extra 4 months free. Surfshark also offers 30-day money-back guarantee. So use the link in the description and the code Paddock and you get 4 months free. And don't forget, you also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. I'll be sleeping on the streets of Manchester tonight. Hello there, it's the Brew. Yes, it's me, Jay. That's Jim from the Slow Readers Club. You know him. He's part of furniture now on this channel and on this Brew. No Stephen Howson tonight, right? He's hurt himself, apparently. Yeah. He's done something to his teeth. I don't know what it is. I don't know what to speculate. I just got a message before off someone who works for me. Said, Steve's not in tonight. He's had to go to the emergency down here. So wishing him a speedy recovery. Jim, I appreciate you coming. You've had a busy day today. You've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming down.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Good. You know the dance on the Brew. Have a little chat.
Yeah, man.
We'll see where the conversation takes us. What have you been up to? You've been in the recording studio recently?
Yeah, well, we just had a new single dropped. I hate saying that, but it's just been drilled into my brain. That came out Wednesday. It's called Animals. So if you go and look up the Slow Readers Club, have a listen to it, you might like it. If you don't like it, then fair enough. But we should have been playing in Belfast and Dublin this weekend, but Kurt, who's our guitarist, is a little bit ill, and anyway, he's going to be all right. But
okay.
The doctor said he needs to stay away from people because I don't know what it is. He did say it, but I can't remember. So he's got to stay away from people for the next few days, which obviously going and playing a gig, getting on a flight and all that, it's not going to help. So we've postponed those. So those should be happening sometime early in the new year. But yeah, we've got the single out, and then we're back gigging again next Thursday. So, yeah, on Thursday, in Nottingham. Then it's Nottingham. I think it's Nottingham, Bristol, London, I think. And then we're in Manchester early in December, Leeds, Glasgow. So we're busy. Sorry, I've just waffled then, haven't I?
No,
like the live story.
This is Friday afternoon. It's a Brew. You know the dance.
Yeah.
There's no, you waffle and chat as much as you want. I was just going to ask you about, first of all, what to say, right? I went to Nottingham 21 years ago, right? Loved it.
Yeah.
Great night, yeah? Not been back since.
It's
Do you know what
a good night.
Where you go, right, oh yeah, it's great, yeah. Because I had a pal down there when I worked in Malaya. One of the lads who was staying with me, he was from Nottingham, went to see him, being a couple of other lads, and we had a top night out. Oh yeah, I'll have to go back there. Never got around to it 21 years later. I've still not done it.
What I remember from back in my youth, people used to say, not that I used to go to Nottingham all the time because I didn't, but people used to always say, oh, Nottingham, and the next thing out of the mouth would be 10 girls to one lad.
Nailed it.
Is that the same thing with you?
Yeah,
that's what they say.
That's probably why I've not been back. I'm not allowed.
Yeah, but same here. I've got no
why
interest.
You got to Nottingham all of a sudden? Eh? Yeah, for that ratio.
Yeah,
that's what they said, didn't they?
That's what you used to say. Yeah, that was it.
When I was,
it might have been even more. It might be more or less. Now it might be 20 to one lad. Now I don't know.
I can't remember, to be honest. I was a bit worse for wear, Jim. It was before I stopped drinking, but it was a good. I just remember it was a good night out, and we were like, we'll have to do that again. Do you know what I mean? Do you ever say that?
Yeah, and never do it. Yeah. We'll have to do it again and never do it. Yeah, do that a lot.
What's been the longest thing you've said? We'll have to do that again, where you've never done it and it's been like the longest amount of time. Can you think of anything that springs to mind? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, loads. Loads like last time I went to Vegas, I got married in Vegas in 2013, and while we were there, we said we have to come back in a couple of years. I've not been, and even though it was one of the best things I've ever done, it is mainly holidays, like going to where have I been? Zagreb. Come back from Zagreb, and it wasn't United to do United; it was to do the band.
Right.
And then it was nice, but we're in and out. Right. But one of them, I'm definitely coming back here. Never did it. When I went to watch, I'm going off now.
Go on.
We went to watch United versus Zenit St. Petersburg in the Super Cup in Monaco.
Right.
Back when we got beat, didn't we?
Yeah.
So they beat. It was Zenit, wasn't it? 2-1.
Yeah.
So we got beat anyway. First time I've been to Monaco, and then I got back, said to the missus, Monaco, because we stayed in Nice.
When was that? Was that 08?
Yeah. So said to Mrs. Stayed in Nice, it was amazing, loved it, blah blah blah. I said, I'll definitely take you. Giving it the big one because I've just come back off a lads.
You got to be careful. I've done them.
But anyway, so I did it last year. But I did it last year, and she used to remind me about it every year, and I did it last year.
Oh, did he?
And it was just as good. Nice was just as good.
Right,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've done that a few times. I did. Was it the last one I did? Was we stopped off on an away in Bergamo.
Yeah. And
it was mint. And I said, missus, you'll love this. And I looked at flights, and the flights were like 60 quid or something.
Yeah, but you've not done it.
Yeah. So we could do that in a weekend. We could go on a Friday, be back on a Monday. Do you know what I mean?
But no, then there's the chance it might ruin it.
Yeah.
Because you might go back.
Yeah.
And it's crap.
Well,
not saying it'd be crap, but it might not be as good.
But do you know what? I think that with Vegas, mate. Not to rain on your parade.
No, but I agree with that. And I've not been back, but I agree with that.
I went Vegas years ago, right, when I was at uni, and I didn't have pots to piss in. A few of us went over there because we did a little tour. Went to San Francisco, not a tour like you, just a little road trip. San Francisco, LA, Vegas.
Down Highway 1. Yeah, mint. I've done it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Best thing I've ever done, that, actually.
I loved it, mate. I had a wobbly one, though. Going down, is it Route 66, right? We know what in the desert, aren't you?
Yeah.
From like LA
to Vegas. So did you go Death Valley way? No, right.
I don't think so. I can't remember, to be honest with you. I know Steve went Death Valley.
I've done Death Valley.
Right, because I remember he did some filming at Death Valley. But I just remember the desert at the time. And I remember looking down and seeing that the petrol light was on.
Right?
And you know one of them ones where you think, how long's that been on for?
Yeah.
And then I'm panicking then thinking, all I can see ahead, right, is just desert. There's just nothing. Just desert. And I'm thinking, fucking hell, if we break
you're dead.
I'm going through me, we're going to get fucking serial killers will be getting us.
It's not. That's the least of your worries. Because at the end of it, if you're getting out there and it's hot, you probably want someone to come and put a bullet in your head.
I honestly, right, I was shitting myself, and then I seen a little sign that said gas. Like it was like someone painted it on a poster. Like, I managed to get some petrol, but it was a wobbly one. But we went back there. We did it then, right? For 4 days. It was mint. I did have a lot of money, but we had a little bit of a night out and all the rest of it. It was good stuff. Anyway, we went back with United covering the tour last year.
Yeah. I saw the footage. I was jealous. I'll be honest.
No, this is it, right? Because this is proper first world problems. I'm not knocking it. It was still a good time, and people say, "Oh, you spoiled bastard," moaning about Vegas. But we'd done the tour, right? So we'd done New York, New Jersey. Because we stayed in New York, gone to New Jersey.
Yeah.
Then we'd gone to me and Joe.
You did the Sopranos stuff, like you
we loved that. It was mint. Yeah, I did the Sopranos thing and the Bada Bing and all that. Then we went to San Diego.
Yeah.
And you remember United had 2 games in 2 days.
Yeah.
It's one in San Diego, one in Houston. And me and Joe went to the Houston one. Right. But I wanted to go to Dallas to see where JFK got shot because he used to be into all that.
Yeah.
So we landed in Dallas, but we ran out of time because it took ages to get in the car. So we had to drive straight to Houston. So I drove there. Get to Houston, watch the game. Anyway, then we had was that the last game that before we went to Vegas, drove to Vegas. So Vegas is the last stop.
Right.
And I don't drink or gamble really. I have a little fun. I'm not a big gambler and I don't drink. So after like a day or two, I was kind of done with it.
Yeah, you had enough.
But the game was like 3 days in or whatever, and then we booked to stay another day so we could all have like a last day together without having to do any work. Not that we were working our socks off before that.
You're working really hard.
Yeah,
you were.
I made a mistake.
I've seen the videos. You were working really hard.
Thank you, Jim. I'm glad you noticed.
Yeah.
So we just had enough. You know when you're like ready. I know I know
what you mean.
But you know, there's only so many times I can have like £20 bet or whatever, or eat another big meal. You know what I mean? And it was roasting, obviously, and you know you can go mooching about, but it's draining to walk about in the day.
Mate, you can't walk about in the day, can you? There.
So I just feel like, you know, we were like, Steve was literally looking at flights home.
Really? Just to get home?
Because Steve's one of them, like, when he's got something in his head, he's like, right, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So he was like, look, I think I've had enough of this now, I'm ready to go. And I was sort of not thinking of doing that, but I got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't quite the same.
Yeah, and that's always the worry about going back. Yeah. Like, I don't want to bore you, but I've never stepped foot in my old school since I left. And you know, like, not that most people do, but sometimes there'll be opportunities when you might go back in, whether it's I don't know if people have kids and their kids go to the same school, or you know, they might have a five-a-side pitch in your old school and you go in there to do a five-a-side. But I've never gone back to even my primary school or my high school for those reasons, because my memories of them are from being a kid, and I don't want to go back and like, I don't have them muddied with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like grown-up problems. Not that they would, but when I think of primary school, I close my eyes and I just see all my mates in there as a kid. Or high school the same. But if I went back into primary school now, if I close my eyes, I might think of me just walking around an empty building. You know what I mean? Anyway,
have you never been asked back to one of your schools to give a talk or anything?
No. I've not done enough in life, obviously. There's people more successful than me.
Well, you think they'd have you back there to talk about? Mind you, they might not like that. Yeah. Going back into a school and you say, oh, you know, I'm joining a band and we've done it. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not what they want to say, is it?
No, what they want to say is you should work.
Yeah, don't think you're going to be in a band, because you're not. If you come in and say, I used to mess.
To be fair, they should get me in and go, look, this is what happens when you're in a band. He's come back to his school. He's not around the world. Do you know what I mean? This is the reality. He's back in primary school, so he's done full circle.
Yeah, it's not all glitz and
don't mess up like him.
What's the? I wanted to ask you a little bit, because I never really chat much about Slow Idiots Club and your work and everything, because we're always just waffling. Yeah. But in terms of your routine then throughout the year, is it touring, recording, touring? Is it promoting? How does it work?
Pretty much, yeah. Not with us. Other bands might be different, but we find a lot of bands follow the same cycle. You tour in the autumn. So, well, if I start from January, start a new year, you're normally writing earlier in the year, because nothing's much is going on January, February time, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
And then you could be doing a bit of recording, let's say towards springtime, but then spring/summer festival season.
Yeah.
So you normally in festivals then, you know, depending on which band you're in or how big you are or how busy you are, you could literally be playing a festival like every few days. You know, right. I know people know Glastonbury exists and they might know Isle of Wight Festival exists, but there are tons of festivals out there. Just in the UK, never mind around the world, there are tons of festivals out there over the summer, more or less every single day. So right in the early bit of the new year, you might do a bit of recording, festival season, and then you tend to do your own thing autumn, winter time. So like we're, you know, in the sort of in touring season now, and then you just sort of follow that again.
Right.
And so we've got an album coming out in March next year, but we wrote and recorded that earlier in the year.
Do you write together as a collective?
Yeah, we write together.
If you're one of you that's the main.
No, we're all involved. We and since COVID, we tend to share more stuff online now. You know, using Google Drive or Dropbox or WhatsApp messages or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But we prefer writing together in the practice room and making up songs. But we still send ideas to each other now from back in when, you know, we couldn't practice during COVID. So it's one of the positives of COVID, I suppose, that it's sort of forced us to write remotely a bit more. But no, there's nothing better than just being there and writing together.
Have you ever had a moment like writer's block where you sat in a room?
Oh mate, loads. Been
sat here for a
We've got tunes there.
To me, that like for us, what we do, I can always talk about something United based. I don't have to come up creatively with anything. I can just Google United and talk about that.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to create something from nothing. Like that's
no.
For me, that I'm getting anxious just talking to you about it, thinking I'd feel the pressure. I know you guys are talented, obviously.
It's hard.
Before, but
you might have the thing is with writing, right? Depending on how a song starts, it could start on any instrument. It could start with a melody. It could start with anything really. But for example, let's just say Kurt, who plays guitars, come up with a riff or a chord sequence.
Yeah.
And then if we like it in the practice room, I'll play my bass to it, and David will play the drums, and Aaron, the singer, he'll sing a melody over the top of nonsense words. Don't know if you've ever heard like Jacko writing songs back in the day, where this is a famous one of Billie Jean, where he's just singing the Billie Jean melody, but he's actually chatting shit. He's not singing the lyrics because he's trying to get the melody first.
Right, okay.
Then he goes away and writes the lyrics. So we sort of, not that we've copied that, but that's how we've evolved and that's how we write our songs. So Aaron will sing like a weird melody over the top, and if we're all vibing, we'll just carry on and carry on and carry on. And then sometimes, you know, you could have 90% of a tune written, honestly, within 5 minutes if you're flowing.
Yeah.
But then other times, we've been sat on a verse or a chorus, or mostly we sat on a verse, and it could be months because we want to get a chorus that's better than the verse, if you know what I mean. You know, and you want to do something that does it justice. So yeah, we've written songs in 5 minutes. We've written songs that probably took us 18 months, but not 18 months. Doing that for 18 months. Yeah, just let's park that for a bit, and then we'll come back. Or we've come up with a completely different idea 18 months later, and then we've gone, we can't get a chorus for that. Well, why don't we get that idea we had 18 months ago, and then that's now the chorus sort of thing. So yeah, it's hard writing, but sometimes it's really good and it's really easy. It just depends what sort of mood you're in.
It must be good as well doing it with your mates, sort of sitting around.
I wouldn't know. They're not my mates, the lads in the band. No, they're just colleagues. No, it's good. It's good.
I know that feeling.
No, you can,
working with people.
It's like you and Steve, innit? You know, he's telling you about his teeth, and really, you text him saying, "I feel sorry for you," but really,
I've not even spoken to. You know what? I've spoken to one of the people that works on his other channels. They said to me, "Oh, have you spoke to Steve today?" I said, "No."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, he's I think he's got a wisdom tooth." I can't remember what they told me. But I was like, "Right, okay." But no, I mean, I love that. I love that. Have you ever seen the? There's that famous clip in. I haven't even seen the documentary, but there was a documentary on the Beatles that came out.
The other lads in the band have seen it all, probably twice, and I've not.
Get back, and you see him sort of writing it like Paul McCartney, and he's sort of. But like you say about nonsense lyrics, he's just sort of chatting his way.
He's trying to get a melody going.
And then you sort of see it forming.
Yeah.
And everyone else is just sort of sat around doing their own thing and milling about. And then you're watching a song that's obviously meant being.
Yeah, created. No, that's
I mean?
And not that we're the Beatles, but we've had them experiences when, you know, we could just be having a break in practice, but one of the lads will play something which makes you pick your instrument up. Then you might be a bit of downtime, and it makes you pick your instrument up and play along. And I think what we always say is if we're all playing along, we all must like something about it, and we tend to carry on. But then the dreaded thing is, like, if I've just started with a bass line and you're there playing guitar with it, and then the drummer's not playing, it's like, right, then obviously he's not vibing there, so let's park that one and we'll try something else. Yeah,
that's good, man. Someone said, Jay Glenn, Wakey Wakey, asked Jim what the single is called. He said it earlier.
Animals. Yeah, I did sort of I went to say it in the last time I was on, but I didn't say it, did I? But it's called Animals. Go and have a listen.
Yeah, it's out now. You can go and get it downloaded. Also, Cy Whitworth, he's listened to it. Jimmy, loving the new Readers single, lad.
Right, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy.
I'm not a fan of Jimmy.
Are you not?
No, just won't go into depth, but you know.
No, it's alright.
As soon as I hear the word Jimmy, I think of Jimmy Savile.
Right, okay.
So yeah, let's leave it there.
No one like Jim will fix it, did they? So we don't want to have those negative connotations.
But no, cheers, thank you, appreciate the kind words.
You know what? I hear you with that, because it's sometimes there's certain ways of saying your name that people don't like. Do you know what I mean?
I get Jim and James a lot.
Do you mind James? James sounds a bit formal.
No, yeah, it does. I get it. Jim is the most.
Right.
Then James after that.
I'm all for abbreviation, me.
Yeah.
So Jim's perfect.
Yeah,
You know what
it's
I mean?
all right. I take it.
I do it a lot. I do it a lot when people call Jason. I call him Jay or Jamie.
I get JR a lot as well because obviously that's my initials. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
As in Dallas. Back in the day.
Are you a bit too young for Dallas? How old are you?
I'm too young for Dallas.
Yeah.
No, it was on.
Yeah.
But I was a kid. I wasn't watching it. My mum and dad didn't watch Dallas.
Yeah. My mum and dad were the same. So I think it was like the main program when I was.
Oh, it's big time Dallas.
Yeah,
and JR was like, he was a big character in it apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen him at the Royal Variety where he freezes up if he gets his words?
Really?
Yeah.
What, the JR Ewing?
Larry
no, never seen it.
So he's doing a bit at the Royal Variety show in front of the Queen and all that, and he's doing like a musical number, and he just forgets the words.
Really?
And he's like stood there and he's singing along, and then he's nodding, and then he's like,
really, that bad?
And then he just sort of acknowledges it. He can't remember what he says. He says something like, and I've forgotten the words, and I don't know what
I've seen. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, it's.
I presume it's on YouTube.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's why
everything's on YouTube.
On YouTube, innit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Thankfully, I don't go on there, so it don't matter.
Yeah.
Santa Nut says that's a common way when you jam together writing a song. What you were talking about there. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Let us know what you think about anything. This is the Brew. We are going to mention, right? I know people on the Brew. We don't usually talk about football, but we've got a new manager and he's just given a press conference. So I'm sorry, we are going to talk about it.
Have you seen it?
I saw it, right?
Are we winning the league? Because that's all I want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
This season as well. Don't worry about that.
I'm definitely.
We're on 13 points behind the Scousers. He did really well. He's obviously very charismatic and charismatic, sorry.
And charismatic as well.
Charismatic, but he's on tablets.
Yeah.
He's very charismatic. He got questions that you'd expect him to be able to answer, but there was one where there was a couple where Jamie Jackson, who's been on the Brew before, he's been on the channel, sort of pushed back because Amorim said, I believe in the players. Do you know what I mean? He goes, you might not, or you might not, but I believe in him. And then Jamie Jackson, when it came to his question, sort of said, well, these are the players that got Ten Hag the sack.
Yeah, that threw him out.
Yeah. So do you still sort of, does that not worry you kind of thing? And he pushed back on that. I've got some quotes here. In fact, let me read the quotes. So the question is, did you feel the United players had lost belief under Ten Hag? And he says, that's for sure, but it's normal when players don't win games. You start to be suspicious of the way of playing. You can understand when they walk to the game or in the warm-up. You can understand if they are confident or not. I think they have to help, but they are ready to cope with the demands of the games in the Premier League. You see, sometimes you have a bad first half, and the second half that will change. They will change, so they find that mindset. He was asked about recruitment. We have to improve the process of recruitment. He said the data, I think it is all together, but the final word should be the manager, not because it is your right, but because it is your responsibility. He then went on to say, I have a great responsibility when we choose players because that is something we should be done in this way. I should be able to choose the players. I have to understand the league, and then when everything is aligned, everyone is on the same page. We can buy and sell players. What's not coming across with this, my dulcet mank tones, is just the way he answered the questions, confidently, smiling when he needed to, not smiling like he's an idiot, but smiling.
His grasp of English is better than Ten Hag's, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, definitely.
And that should be a thing that matters, but it does. You know, to definitely to fans and what's I'm looking for. Obviously, my grasp of English is shit. Oh, when you're trying to sort of put passion across all your feelings. If you can speak that language better than someone else, you can do that. Whereas, and I liked Ten Hag, but one of Ten Hag's sort of frailties was he was just very, it's matter of fact. It's this, and and I just think of the interviews I've seen of the new manager, his grasp of language and that seems a bit better, so we can maybe get his emotion across a bit more.
Yeah, I agree. I think. That is a positive. It helps. I think I've said this a few times. I think, listen, the press pack or the media, no matter what you think of them, they're only human. I think if you get along with people, they tend to give you an easier time. United managers, if they're struggling to win games, are always going to get criticised. I'm not saying that, but it can sometimes help your cause if you have that good relationship with the media. Do you know what I mean? That they will sort of treat you a little bit differently. It's just human nature, innit? And I think with Ten Hag, he never quite got going with the media. Do you know what I mean? And that's not necessarily criticism. I get it. Fergie didn't get on with the media. It didn't matter because he was so successful.
He was winning.
It was tough shit.
But he made that weirdly with Fergie. That was he used that in order to make the team win as well.
Yeah, very much us and them, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he'd circle the wagons and they're not giving the respect. And he'd say it to the media, you lot have never given us the respect that we deserve. He did it with the FA. He accused them of not respecting Manchester United.
Quality,
You know what I mean? He did it with the Premier League. He did it with other managers. He did it with other players. You know what I mean? He was the master of the mind games and the sort of psychological element of management, of just feeling like, getting you feeling like it's us against them. They all hate us and we're going to prove them wrong. Right up until that last season. Because if you remember, and I know you do remember because everyone does, unfortunately, tapping into that whole, you know, Sunderland fans celebrating when we lost the league on the final day and getting it, you know, remember this and just remember how it was, and next season we'll come back and we'll show him, and you know, we obviously won the title in his last season. Just in terms of the difference between what I've seen today with Ruben Amorim and what I've seen in previous managers, got some quotes from first press conferences from other managers. So, because it was interesting, because I wasn't there today, but I've been in managerial unveilings before. I was there when Moyes was unveiled, I was there when Van Gaal was unveiled, I was there when Jose was unveiled. And you can sort of get an impression. And I remember with Moyes, and I said this at the time, so I'm not rewriting history just to suit a narrative, he looks a bit like, I couldn't believe it. Fergie rang me and said, you're going to be the next, come out of my house, you're going to be the next United manager. I was like, really? Wow, this is mint. Like, which it was a bit unnerving, because you think you should have a bit more confidence.
He's since said that, hasn't he, that he felt like he couldn't say no because Fergie asked him. And you don't say no to Fergie, you know. Even if he did have any doubt, he'd probably sitting there going, well, I don't want to say no because I don't want to piss him off.
Which is mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
The whole appointment of David Moyes, probably the most important managerial appointment in history. Succeeding Sir Alex Ferguson, the man that won 13 titles and 2 Champions Leagues. And we didn't even give him an interview or ask him what his plans were or his targets.
I think it just shown how much the club trusted Fergie, though. And he ran the club, didn't he? He literally
still had that control.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
and he sort of tried to back away from that a little bit now. And say it wasn't all in, but it obviously was. There's
and I think at the time the Glazers obviously still don't have a clue about football, and they probably thought, well, he's been winning for 20 odd years. Let's just whatever he says, we'll do it.
100%. He on one of his quotes from his first press conference, David Moyes, was, "I will always put winning at the top of the list. We need to get the balance right." What sort of worried me about Moyes in his first press conference? Yes, he was a little bit. He looked like a rabbit in headlights, and also I think at one point he mentioned Bill Shankly. I was like, "You need to sort out. Don't start mentioning Liverpool managers here, mate." Do you know what I mean? Van Gaal was different. Van Gaal came in with a bit more swagger.
Yeah, he did.
A lot of confidence. Seemed to grasp the size of the assignment. He'd been at Barcelona. He'd been at Ajax.
Yeah, he was big time.
Yeah, he wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm at the club the size of Manchester United. Because when you've managed Barcelona, I think you managed them twice. And Bayern Munich.
It's just another club, isn't it, to him,
Like, you've been at 2 of the biggest clubs in the world. Manchester United are on a similar level. And he was in his 60s or whatever. He wasn't coming in like a novice or whatever. He was been here, done that, worn a T-shirt. He said, for me, the challenge is always to come first, not fourth. But when you have to analyse after one season, it's dependent on the click between the players and the manager. One thing that I remember from Van Gaal's press conference, his first one, was he mentioned the commercial department. He mentioned the marketing side. He said that it's not just about the football side. Marketing side is a big part of his club. And I don't know if that was a dig.
But since then, it's come out that it probably was a dig.
Because the way he said it, it didn't seem like he was being aggy. It didn't seem like he was going, well, you've got to contend with the marketing department.
It was different.
It was not like, he was just sort of said it as matter of factly. But he was very matter of factly, Louis van Gaal. Even when he was kicking off. And when remember, I was at the press conference where he stormed off. When he didn't even storm off, where he went, there's mince pies at the back, and he got off after a minute. And everyone was like, what made me laugh is I was stood at the side of that. If you remember where he said, like, he was annoyed because people had been reporting he was going to get sacked. And he went, there's red wine and mince pies at the back. And I remember everyone who was sat there just turned and looked at the back.
It's just to see him.
Just to see. And then turned back and he just got up and went, right, I'll leave you to it, whatever, and walked off. But he at least looked like a manager who had confidence in himself. But
he definitely did.
I think with Van Gaal, I don't think the media, and I don't think the United press people handled Van Gaal the right way. And I'll explain that. Because I think Van Gaal was one of those managers who, despite that press conference just mentioned, was happy with the media, liked it. Whenever I got the impression he was
he liked the spotlight.
He liked to chat. He went on and on about his philosophy. He went on about certain
and he was good viewing. He was good.
He was entertaining.
Yeah, of course he was.
He had, Louis van Gaal's army.
He loved it.
I don't think he necessarily minded the media, but they were very. I think after what happened with Moyes, they were very protective of him at United. And it was literally like, the press conferences were very short. There wasn't much back and forth, and I think they missed a trick. They could have got him to. Because at the same time, I used to go to City, so I used to have to cover both. City, you could go there, you get a mic, and you could ask questions. If you were from, the local newspaper, or if you were from wherever, you'd get a question. At United, it was very much like,
limiting it.
Sky, ITV or whatever, or TalkSport, sorry. Now and again, I got a question if someone else was missing, but it was very rare, because I was at Kieran 03. Whereas City, obviously, it just went on and for like 45 minutes. At United, it was like 15.
Yeah.
And I think they missed a trick with Van Gaal, because I think he could have helped himself, just not his fault, but like giving him a little bit more back and forth, because he was good with the media. Yeah, he was. At one point, he got out after the press conference. He'd had a bit of an argument with someone, one of the journalists, and he sat next to him after the press conference finished and like put his arm around him, was chatting to him. You know what I mean? Like as a mate, like what? Like, hey, did you enjoy that kind of thing? I wasn't, digging him out.
Rooney famously says though he loved Louis Van Gaal. Then have you seen his interviews? How he says, as a tactician and as a student of football, like he was sort of in awe of Van Gaal and what he had to say and everything. So
it was a shame. Cantona will save the world, which is true. Says, what are your two's best 3 players to watch? Not in who was the best, but best to watch
for United.
I presume so. My first is obvious, winking. So Cantona is obviously his first. Players that I love to watch.
Paul Scholes, me.
Scholes, yeah. Oh, mate.
Just the fact that he's just little, and he just can do anything. Honestly, I love watching Paul Scholes. Love watching Wayne Rooney. Yeah. Because with Rooney, not that I'm a good footballer like Rooney, but Rooney plays like I'd imagine if someone give me a shirt and said get on the fucking pitch now. Yeah. That's what I'd do. Right. Okay. Where you'd think. When people say, I'd die for this shirt, like literally, and I'm sure loads of fans out there are saying, I'd just run myself into the ground. Yeah. You see zero footballing ability, but Rooney had that and the footballing ability as well.
Most gifted players
So
ever.
I love watching Rooney.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think you picked some good ones there. I'm trying to think. When I was a kid, my favourite player was Paul Ince. Yeah, because he got stuck in. Yeah, had a bit of.
But again, it like as a fan, that's what you want to, innit, weirdly.
And I used to love players who got stuck in almost as much as the skillful players.
Yeah, of course, definitely. You know what I mean? That's why everyone loved Roy Keane as well.
Yeah, I know it's different when you're watching that, but that's what I used to enjoy watching. And there were certain players like there was a spell. Nani could be the most frustrating player I've ever watched, right? Yeah. But there was a spell, I think it was in 2011 around that time, where for about 6 months he was unplayable. Yeah. He had his best 6 months he's ever had, and he was mint, and he was just so entertaining.
The Arsenal goal stands out in that, doesn't it?
But he could be so frustrating. Yeah. But he was a good entertaining. We talk about entertaining players.
We had some really entertaining players, though, didn't we, back in the day? I don't want to be reminiscing. Like Scousers talk about the 80s, isn't it?
It depresses us.
Yeah.
Elastic Audio Belfast says Mark Hughes. Flaws says obvious one, but Robbo would also say Sharp was entertaining. None of them better than Eric or Rooney, though. Hit the like button, please, people. We're going to mention as well Jose. I was there when Jose was unveiled. One thing with Jose was he had this sort of... He was waiting for the question about the academy.
Yeah.
Someone said, are you going to play the academy players? Because that's a big part of United.
Because he was famously bought players in. Yeah.
Bother. And he said, do you know how many... I remember I was sat next to Don McGuinness who asked the question. He said... Do you know how many academy players I've brought through in my career? And obviously Dom didn't know, no one did. And he went 45, and he had a piece of paper with it on.
Like Benitez did with his facts on.
Right. Yeah. So he's gone 45 players.
So he'd been waiting for that,
So he had a piece of paper, and he said, then you can have this if you want it, and you can read it. 45 players I've brought through from academy teams into the first team, right? So everyone was like, no one was arguing with it. Yeah. Everyone was like, right, okay, yeah, fair enough. And then someone got hold of the bit of paper or whatever and went through it. And a lot of it was bollocks.
Really?
He'd given himself credit for, like, say when he was at Chelsea, like, I don't know, Ruben Loftus-Cheek had already...
Come on for a minute.
Yeah.
Someone's gone off injured.
Yeah. There was, like, on that list, there was about 20 players who'd played, like, less than half an hour. Do you know what I mean? And he was... So it wasn't quite bringing them through and giving them their chance. It was literally, like, a cameo in the Champions League dead rubber in the group stages. Things like that. But it was... it was one of them.
I think there's different levels to bringing players through, isn't there? There's like that, where you could claim that you've brought him through, but really you've not. Then there's the exact other end of the scale where you've, like Fergie did with the kids, as they were known as, you basically put your trust in them and you push them into your team, and you make space for them in your team. Or then maybe in the middle you've got like, let's say, Rashford got into the team. Like Van Gaal put Rashford into the team because it was a kind of like, well, we're struggling here for numbers, wasn't it? I don't think he put Rashford into the team, if I remember correctly anyway. He didn't put him into the team as this academy graduate who's going to start tearing everyone a new one in the Premier League. He ended up playing because we were short on numbers, I think, originally, wasn't it? And
Rashford, it was Midtjylland. Yeah. And what happened was, I think a week before, we'd had injuries. I'm trying to get the timeline right here. I can't remember who we had, but we had a few injuries, and then I think Will Keane was knocking on the door, and then he got injured. And then for the Midtjylland game, Martial got injured in the warm-up. Yeah. And we were completely fucking threadbare. So Marcus Rashford got the nod to start. And I remember I'd not really heard much about him. I'd sort of heard about him from the academy, but I didn't know a lot about him. And I think at the time people were sort of questioning whether he was actually good enough. He wasn't like, with Mason Greenwood, everyone knew he was. Yeah, everyone knew. It went wrong for other reasons. But everyone was a bit like, Marcus, don't know, comes on, or starts, should say, gets his 2 goals. And the rest is history.
Exactly. But he kept scoring though, didn't he? Like, and that helped.
The winner at the 8-yard.
Yeah, and that helped keep him in the team.
I'm just looking at some of the comments. Jed91, big up Jay, non-stop for Paddock. Need a few days. I'll need a few days off after tonight. We've got a tournament. If you can get that at 5s in Trafford, Fuel's going to be playing in a tournament there. So it's a 6-a-side thing. If you can get down there, by all means do. I think there's still some tickets available. Badger Boy says Eric was the best I've seen live. It was like all vibes came from him. Colin Coupleditch says, just checking in, a little late. Here's to the weekend, gang. Yeah, we went early today because we've got to finish a bit early, so we started a little bit earlier. So if you are just joining us, that's why we've been going for about 36 minutes. Ollie was a funny one because Ollie came in, and as soon as he succeeded Jose, it was just like he just did what the things that Jose did, didn't he?
He did.
Nice to everyone, jovial, warm. I mean, Jose could be warm, to be fair, because I remember when I had a laugh with Jose once. He took the mick out of me for being bald. It was like he could be like all right, you know what I mean? But when the results,
is that all right? Is that being all right?
Well, I know that sounds bad, but it was all right. The way he did it was like, it was quite.
There was a way.
Yeah. And this was like Jose in his first season and a bit. It was very charismatic. Yeah. Saying charismatic, and a lot of the press liked him, and a lot of the press were like, not in awe of him, but respected him because he had such a good reputation. And I think a lot of the Manchester press hadn't covered Jose before. So it was like, oh, this is Jose. This is our chance to, do you know what I mean, to be in a room with Jose Mourinho. So they sort of enjoyed it until it started going wrong. The results started going against him, and he got aggy.
Yeah, he did.
Ragnick.
See, right, I'll say on this one. I fucking, honestly, I'm swearing, sorry.
No, swear, mate, don't worry about that.
I loved...
Yeah,
I'd listened to everything he said, and I know obviously he got kicked out and all that, and I get that. But for me, out of the managers we've had post Fergie, I'd watch him more than any of them in his press conferences, because he just used to say how it was, like stuff that you think. I'd be sitting there as a United fan going, my manager's saying that. Like, honestly, I can't believe he's saying it, and it's like someone putting me there and saying, just go and say a few words.
It was mad, wasn't it? We've never had a manager who would call out the Glazers the way he did, basically.
No, he did,
He basically said, this club is fucked. And it's
open heart surgery.
Yeah, open heart surgery.
Yeah.
And he basically said we need, and he was right, he said we need 10 new players. And we've signed 10 new players since then, and we're 13th.
Yeah.
So it's not like he was chatting nonsense just to impress the media. He was telling the truth. So Ragnick was great in press conference stuff. Just terrible. As a manager. Ten Hag, he did okay in press when he first arrived. We was in the press conferences, but like we said earlier, we've mentioned that it sort of started going wrong for him sooner rather than later. Ross Murphy says Ralph Ragnick was honest, but he was interim manager, so he can get away with saying anything.
True.
We're going to wrap it up there. It's a short one today. Jim, thanks for coming down, man.
You're welcome.
Enjoyed chatting to you. Thanks for giving us a little bit of a lowdown. Go and check out Slow Readers Club, new single, Animals. It's out now. Go and check it out. We'll put a link in the chat and the description. So go and check that out. Make sure you go and check out Jim. And you got tour dates, did you say? You've had to push them back, but there's a tour ticket.
It's sold out. It's sold, yeah. So I know it sounds Billy big time. And there might be a couple of tickets left for Leeds because we upgraded the venue there, but I can't be sure.
Okay, but, you can have a look anyway. Listen, we're going to be at this event in Fives in Trafford in about 2 hours if you can get down there. I think there's still tickets available for that. Big thank you as well to Surfshark sponsoring this podcast. That's been Jim from Slow Readers Club. I'm Jay. This has been The Brew. Thanks for watching.
See you later.